43-35 in favor of the Eagles. What are your thoughts on that game? You think it was, obviously it was a shootout, high-scoring game, great game for the fans. It was won in the fourth quarter. It was that close for that much of the game. Philly came out very aggressively in the first half. It was 24-14, so they had a nice, comfortable lead. So, it was still within reason for the LA Rams to come back, and they did. So what were your thoughts on the performance by the Eagles? Especially in the context of how good was this how good was this performance, and was it enough to make the Philadelphia Eagles like a serious Super Bowl conversation piece?
I definitely think that the Eagles for sure are still in the conversation for Super Bowl, but I don't know after they, just lost their quarterback, their MVP quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really going to be it's definitely a big blow for them for sure. And we don't know how they're going to do with Nick Foles. He's done some good stuff, but we just don't know yet. And that's the thing that concerns most people. Obviously Carson Wentz is out for the year. So I wouldn't say Super Bowl. I would say, let's see how Nick Foles does. And then we can talk Super Bowl. If he's able to pick up right where Carson Wentz left off, then I could see, the Super Bowl talk and him winning the MVP in the Super Bowl. But we just got to see right now and see
where he's at. There's no way that slow as molasses dude is winning a Super Bowl, let alone a Super Bowl MVP. I just want to say that now.
Yeah, and he's not going to be. It's hard, too, when you got the New England Patriots who are probably going to make the Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
And, him against Tom Brady, it feels like a no match right there. I think the one thing that does concern me, though, like they won, is the defense. The defense, the DBs, Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, are giving up a lot of big plays. That's why I think they're close to one of the top 3 players leading the team in tackles.
Yeah, their tackle numbers were way down. You just had Bradham and Darby with 6 tackles, and then it falls off to 4 and 2 by Cox. Robinson had 3. There was only there were a couple sacks. Patrick Robinson for 1 sack, Chris Long for a sack. But otherwise, it looks on paper anyway like a very lackluster performance by the defense. And you say that's the way it played out on television.
Absolutely. It's just them, getting burnt on big plays. And obviously when you're getting burnt on big plays, there's less chance for you to make a lot of tackles on your defense. And I think that's the thing that concerns me is that because, when you get in the playoffs, you're going to play tough teams, with number 1 receivers. And if you're getting burnt all day long by how the receivers are playing, your chances of winning in the playoffs and, making it to the Super Bowl is very, very outmatched. Yeah. Because I think the way that you can't, like, if you're a good cornerback in the NFL, you should not be leading your team or, like, being close to your team in tackles. Like, you shouldn't be, like, tied first with team in tackles. Because if you're leading your team in tackles or whatever, like, you're obviously you're giving up way too many big plays to do that. Like, no DB should be leading their team in tackles. It should be linebackers and maybe safeties. But I don't think that a cornerback should be leading their team in tackles. That's just my opinion. But I definitely think the Eagles' defense is definitely concerning, the amount of points they're giving up per game, the explosive plays they're giving up. So I'm really wanting to see how well they can do, with the next coming weeks to get the first seed and get a first-round bye.
To me, I guess, looking at the stats, that the lack of defense on the Eagles side, or at least the ability to their pass rush capabilities. Looking at the stats, it was all Cooper Kupp. He only had 5 receptions, but they were for an average of 23, almost 24 yards per reception. So the fact that Jared Goff was willing and able to stay in the pocket that long to get a good read and wait for that perfect pass to Cooper Kupp and a couple other guys, that just shows that the defensive side of Philly is struggling to get in, to engage, not getting any sacks really, not a lot of tackles. Although the tackles, I could see why they would be down because there really wasn't a whole lot of rushing on the Rams. It was just Todd Gurley for 96 yards, but he only carried the ball 13 times. And some of those were for receptions. So
Yeah, that's definitely a good point right there too. And Todd Todd Gurley, the Eagles have been good all year stopping the run. But I think obviously when you play tough running backs, the chances of you stopping the run like top 5, like Todd Gurley is.
He's a top fiver.
I definitely would have to agree with that in the NFL. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. But I think there's definitely no excuse for that too, because you're gonna play tough running backs when you get into the playoffs, like we said, because you're gonna play one of the best running backs probably in the NFL, because obviously one of the best running backs are usually playing in the playoffs,
Right.
usually in the postseason, because they're that good, and that usually means if they're that good, they must have a good quarterback, they must have a good team. So I definitely think
Good
that
offensive line, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So I definitely think that they needed to be 100% better at stopping the run. Just a little bit better. They've done good a lot this year at stopping the run. They definitely weren't expected to stop the run like they have been. But I definitely think they need to get a lot better, though, for sure. And the one thing I do like about the Eagles is the way how they're able to close out games. It reminds me of the game week 3 against the Giants, where Jake Elliott had that 61-yard field goal to win the game. Like, they're always finding ways of closing out the game. So that's why, I'm like, if I just have a scale of how nervous I was, for the Eagles in the playoffs, like this would probably be me right here. But if they weren't able to close out games like they have been, my nervous level would probably be like more up here.
Right.
So it would have been a lot higher.
Yeah, just Jake Elliott's ability alone he was 3 for 3 on field goals yesterday. So put 13 points up on the board, I guess, when you factor in the extra points and things like that. That accounted for over a quarter of their points.
And actually, Carson Wentz beat one of the Eagles' single season touchdown
with
passes.
4. Yeah,
it was 33 passing touchdowns in single season.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was Kenny Sturgeon.
Okay,
he had 32, and he has Carson Wentz has 33 now. So he also
Wentz, man, franchiser.
Yeah. Absolutely, doing that amount in 14 games, and obviously he won't be back for the rest of the year.
Gonna run out of fingers for rings.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely looking real tough too, especially beating franchise records and stuff now. Like, it's definitely one to watch out. And the next game